was a glorious day on the island of Sodor. Villagers, children, even Sir Topham Hatt was excited. The circus was coming. The engines were thrilled. They loved the circus too. Percy loved the horses. James loved the clowns. Children gathered on the bridges. They were waiting to see the circus pass by. Thomas became more and more excited. Everyone wanted to collect the circus from Brendam Docks. Sir Topham Hatt came to Tidmouth Sheds. He had exciting news for Thomas. "Thomas, you are to collect the circus," he boomed. Thomas was very happy. Pulling the circus sounded like wonderful fun. "But if there are too many freight cars for you to pull," added Sir Topham Hatt, "you must share the work with another engine." Percy and James were pleased. Maybe they'd get to pull the circus after all. Thomas puffed over to Brendam Docks. Thomas steamed into the docks. Cranky was unloading the circus. Thomas was amazed. There were trailers and horse boxes, colorful costumes, coaches and flatbeds as far as the eye could see. Thomas was so excited his axles tingled. The acrobats and clowns climbed aboard Annie and Clarabelle. Thomas buffered up to collect the coaches. "Do you want a wheel there, matey?" asked Salty cheerfully. Thomas remembered what Sir Topham Hatt had said about sharing the work. But the band started playing, and everybody was cheering. Thomas thought this was the most wonderful special delivery ever. Even though the train was very heavy, he didn't want to share it. "No, thank you, Salty," he gasped. "I can do it on my own." And Thomas took the biggest puff he could and slowly pulled away. Thomas trundled through the countryside. His pistons pumped and his traction rods rattled. But Thomas didn't notice. He was having far too much fun. Thomas puffed toward Marin Station. He had a wonderful surprise. Passengers and staff waved and cheered as he passed by. The band played on, and Thomas blew his whistle in time with the trumpet. Thomas felt very special. Pulling the circus was lots of fun. Thomas stopped by a bridge. Percy was waiting there too. Children waved to Thomas and the circus. Thomas blew his whistle. Percy wanted to join in. "Is there anything I can take?" asked Percy hopefully. But Thomas wanted to keep all the fun to himself. "No, thank you," he gasped. "I can do it all on my own." Percy watched Thomas and the circus slowly chuff away. He felt very disappointed. Thomas puffed on. The train started to feel heavier and heavier. His traction rods were rattling more than ever. Thomas stopped at a junction. James was waiting in a siding. James thought the band sounded very jolly. "If you want to uncouple some freight cars," he said hopefully, "I could take them for you." "No, thank you," gasped Thomas. "I can do it all on my own." He didn't want to miss out on any of the fun. Thomas steamed on, but every huff and every chuff got harder and harder. Thomas passed through the next station, but he was almost out of puff. Thomas wasn't having fun anymore. Then there was trouble. With a horrible creak and a terrible crack, Thomas's traction rods broke. Thomas stopped with a jolt. Suddenly, it was very quiet. Thomas felt very sad. Thomas's driver telephoned for help. Even the performers practicing in the field didn't make Thomas feel better. Thomas wished he had shared the heavy load. Soon, Percy and James arrived. James brought new traction rods, and Percy brought hay for the horses. But Thomas still felt miserable. "I wish I'd shared the work with you," he said sadly. "Don't worry," puffed Percy. "We can all have fun now," said James cheerfully. And he was right. While Thomas's traction rods were replaced, they all enjoyed watching the circus performers practice. Then Thomas shared the freight cars. Percy took the horses. James took the performers. Then the band started playing. "This is fun," puffed Thomas. All three engines blew their whistles, and the long and jolly train set off. Later, the friends watched as the big tent was put up. "Thank you for helping me," puffed Thomas. "Sharing your work makes things much easier. But sharing the fun is the best fun of all." And everyone agreed.